What is up, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is episode 75 of the Life a Game podcast. My name is Jamie, and I'll be your captain on this cruise of video game awesomeness. And my voice is absolutely gone today, but that's okay. We're going to push on through. Now, sadly, I will say, Mr. Josh Brandt is not here tonight, but that's okay because we still have Mr. Chris White.
That's right. Hello, James. How are you?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I mean, you say sadly that Josh isn't here, but we're going to be talking a lot about Xbox today,
Right.
so we don't need his nonsense in here anyways. It's fine.
Of course, the day he decides to miss is the day we kick off our E3 predictions.
That's right.
He did send me his stuff, but today we
He
are
did.
starting with Xbox. So
That's right.
I guess before we hop into all the predictions and everything else, what have you been playing, man?
So we were actually having this conversation before we logged on, and I wish I had a bunch of stuff on Xbox that I could say that I was playing, but I'm really not. We've had this conversation on the show a lot. I tend to just be a very portable gamer, so the Switch is just really kind of fit that bill. So I've been playing a lot of Zelda still, a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is fantastic. We're still doing every weekend. We're doing the Super Indie podcast group on Friday through Sunday. So if you guys aren't logging in, I will say, and I don't even know. This wasn't a thing on the Wii U, was it? The way they did tournaments like this?
I can't remember.
I never did it, and
Yeah.
maybe I just wasn't connected to a group like we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I just missed it. But it's a ton of fun. Like you can you log in at any time. You can race against other hosts of the shows that that we're or any of the fans, and it keeps like a running tally of your score and how well you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super fun. I'm not a big fan of online gaming in general, but I like just kind of being able to jump in whenever I want to.
Yeah.
Race a couple races, jump out, and kind of have some progression there and mingle with the people that watch our shows and stuff. So it's really cool. So I've been doing that. And then I will say I've been playing. I've still been playing Power Rangers.
Oh, really? Okay.
On Mega Battles on Xbox. Look, it's not a good game. All right. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a good game. It's not a great game, but I'm repping my
Right.
Sure. My Power Ranger shirt. So I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, and the conversation we were having, James, before the show was, as a parent, 9 times out of 10, when I sit down in front of a game, I have to play something that is somewhat accessible to all ages, unless it's pretty late at night. Because at any time, I could have a 3-year-old or an 8-year-old walk through the living room, or even just sit on the couch to watch me play. And so, a lot of the games that I would play, Gears of War, Halo, stuff like that, Mass Effect, these bigger games, even the Telltale games, like those games are obviously not for kids. So I can't just sit around in the afternoon and play those games with the kids walking through the house. So I tend to play things like Zelda or Mario Kart or something that they can either play with or watch. And so, but Power Rangers kind of has that appeal where it's it's very very cartoony. It's very kid friendly, and they like it because they watch the the shows and stuff now. And so I haven't played a lot of that. I haven't beat it as long as I've had it. Like I play in small chunks. Like I'll sit down and play for half an hour here and there. I think I'm finally on like the last level, but I just unlocked Tommy as the Green Ranger, which is
congratulations.
Super fun. So, yeah, I mean, at this point, he's the only Ranger that you need to play with. So, but yeah, so I mean that's it. But mostly Switch stuff.
Now I remember on Power Rangers when you first got it, you said you pre-ordered it, so you got Tommy the White Ranger and a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah, it's not out yet. It's still not flipping out yet. I think
Really?
it comes out. I think it's supposed to come out in May, but I don't think they've ever given it a date. So yeah, so there is DLC that you, if you pre-ordered, you got for free, and so you get Tommy as the White Ranger, and then you get Rocky and Aisha and who am I missing? Adam, Rocky and Adam and Aisha, they were the 3 that came in the middle of like season 2 and replaced Jason, Trini, and Kimberly, who left. No, that's not right. Jason, Zach, and Trini,
Right,
who left.
right.
So those characters are going to be in there, and of course, White Ranger Tommy is the greatest Ranger of all time.
Sure.
So I am excited for that, but I will report back when that comes out because I'll jump back in for sure.
Yeah, growing up, I think in my parents' basement, I still have a box full of Power Ranger action figures. I had the Zords. I think I had
Yeah,
the
man.
first two Zords is what I had.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying to think. The White Ranger, didn't he have, was it a lion? I'm trying to remember what the
No,
White,
it's a tiger. He's a
it
white
was Tiger.
tiger.
White Tiger,
Uh-huh.
okay. I knew it was something like that. Because he was the Green Dragon Zord, and then he, changed.
Yep. Yeah, he had Dragon Zord. Yeah, so he had Megazord, Dragon Zord, and then Titanus was the first series, and the second series they brought in the Thunder Megazord, which was super cool. And then that's when you got the White Tiger.
Got it.
And then they combined to the White Thunder White. No, I think it's Mega White Tiger Zord. I don't know,
I,
something like that.
it's been, dude, I can't tell
I
you the last
love
time I
it.
watched that show. It's been a really long time.
Great.
But as for myself, talk about Mario Kart 8, still playing that. With
So
my
good.
Switch, got docked on the TV. My wife and I are playing together today. On my own, I'm working through 200cc. Getting real good at the drifting and braking at the same time to go around the corners.
It's hard, man.
It's great, having a good time with that. The other game, I don't know if I mentioned I bought this or not. I can't remember because it's been, I missed a week on the show and everything. Voodoo Vince Remastered.
Oh,
Went
you
through
did
that.
mention it, yeah, but I think you had just bought it but hadn't played it. So
Right,
you've been
and
playing
it's a really fun game. It definitely shows its age because the worlds are all super super small. The collectibles are somewhat easy to find, I think, just because the worlds are so small. But the atmosphere is great, the humor is great. It plays great. It's just kind of like with ukulele. You have to be in like an older mindset to enjoy it more. If that
Sure.
makes sense. But it's pretty good. I'm liking it.
Yeah. Well, it's a remake, right? It's a remake of a early 2000s game.
Right,
So I mean,
right.
you're obviously not going to get obviously the age is going to be there even if it looks great. Like the age is still there in gameplay mechanics. It's still the same game size, of the games of that era, which weren't. Yeah, even if you look back, like let's go all the way back to Mario 64. And I mean those worlds aren't real big when you stop and think about it. They're
Right.
they're I mean they're relatively small little hubs. So yeah, so you have that when you have a remake. Again, this is the argument that we've had about ukulele, is that ukulele is a great game, but it is basically just Banjo 3. So if
Right.
you're
Right.
if you're expecting like a Breath of the Wild, kind of entrance into like that sort of taking the classic game and that turning it on its head, like that's not what this is. This is that game, just kind of updated graphics and stuff for our time. So
Yeah, and I mean doing remasters is really popular now.
yeah.
Like picking up Darksiders, remastered, and Darksiders 2 remastered and play through
War,
those.
no, sorry, it's War Mastered
War Mastered
Edition
and Death
and
Definitive.
Definitive
Yeah, right.
Edition. Thank you.
And I mean those games are great too. Started up Darksiders 1, really good game. Just want to mention, because I know you guys mentioned it on last week's show, I talked about Darksiders 3. On Xbox, I'm not sure if it's on PlayStation or not. They've got a Darksiders Fury bundle where you can get Darksiders 1 and 2 remastered for $20, which is really good.
It's a
deal.
great price, and those are really really good games.
Yep. If you haven't played them, they're great. But okay, anything else to add?
No, I think we're good, man.
Okay. With that, we're going to hop into our news section and what we call Captain's Log.
Nice.
And we're going to try to keep it all Xbox news today if we can.
I like it.
To kick things off, Major Nelson announced there's going to be a special Xbox One backwards compatibility sale. So probably as soon as you hear this, it's starting May 16th.
It's live.
So,
Yep, Tuesday.
Yeah. And it's going to be over 275 titles, up to 75% off. It's going to be they only mentioned a few: Red Dead Redemption, Skate 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and Grand Theft Auto 4. There's going to be way more games than that. With
Yeah.
275, it's a lot.
It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games. Look, do you play backwards compatible games?
I do.
James?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure do.
Yeah, I do too. I actually for the first time, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I unplugged my 360 for the first time.
Oh wow.
And
Big step.
yeah, but I mean to be fair, like I don't think that I went back to it very much at all. I think I used it more for like Netflix capabilities and stuff. But I bought an Apple TV, a fourth generation Apple TV, maybe about a month ago, and at that point, it was on the same TV, so we don't really need the 360 functionality. And then anything that I want to play on my 360 is now backwards compatible, which is
Right.
amazing. So it's actually just kind of sitting in the box. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I actually considered trading it in, and I looked at the value. It's like worth like $50, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
yeah.
I'm sure if I'll just keep it for nostalgia at that point. But yeah, I mean, backwards compatible is fantastic. So I just always think about somebody who's maybe gaming for the first time. I mean, you think about maybe like a 15 or 16-year-old, or maybe like a 10 or 12-year-old that's getting like their very first console, and their parents hand them an Xbox One, and they're like, so you can go back all the way to 2005 and play a lot of these really, really great games. So to see sales like this is just a no-brainer. I mean, all these games have already made their money, and so it's like this is just really kind of offering them out there to people. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Is there any game you're hoping to see?
I was actually thinking about that too, but I have like on my waiting to download, I have like 400 games on my Xbox One. So because I was a very early adopter of digital, I went all digital. I actually went all digital right before Xbox really started pushing digital on the 360, and I just avoided games. And I was like, I'm only going to buy like these tentpole games that come out, and then I'm going to buy Xbox Live Arcade stuff until they get this crap figured out.
Sure.
And then shortly after they they started putting day and date stuff out. But yeah, I mean, I have games. Dating back to like the very first day and date games that Xbox have. And I mean, I was digital. I was trying to think, I think the last retail game that I bought was Assassin's Creed 3, which I want to say is maybe 2013. So that was the last physical game. Now I bought a few physical games on Switch for the kids, and then so I guess it's not completely accurate, but the last Xbox game that I bought physical was Assassin's Creed 3. So I have a bunch. I don't know that I'm more of a browser at this point. So what I'll do is I'll look down the list. If there's a game or two that look, these games are really old, so I would expect some of these games to be like $2.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do these sales, and it's like $1.99 or $3.99 or something like that. So if there's a handful of really great games, but look, I already own Red Dead, I already own the Call of Duty games, I already own the BioShock games. So I mean, it would have to just be like maybe one of those games that I missed that I always wanted to play, and they're like, oh, this is a game you could have played $5, and maybe I'll pick something up.
I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you know how many titles are backwards compatible?
I want to say the list was like 300 or something like that.
So it's almost all of them that are going to be on sale.
Yeah, probably all of them. Yeah, unless maybe they're announcing maybe they'll like launch kind of shadow launch some new ones as well that are on sale, which would be kind of cool, because they will normally do that. Just they don't even make a press anymore. They just go on Twitter and Major Nelson's like, hey, this game and this game are now backwards compatible. He may do something like that on Monday, and then it'll be on sale on Tuesday. That could be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
On to the next news story. I know we are both excited for Xbox Scorpio. I mean, interested to hear about it at least. I mean, I think I'll be picking one up. I hope. We'll see, depending on cost. We'll get into our predictions here soon. But Nielsen recently had a study they sent out to all ages, and it showed that only 11% of those surveyed, age 13 and older, have heard of Project Scorpio.
That's bonkers to me.
So now this is everybody. However, when you take it just down to gamers, only 14% said they have heard of Scorpio.
Okay.
So, what does Microsoft have to? I know E3 is going to happen. We're going to talk about our predictions here in a minute. Is there anything off the top of your head you can think of that Xbox and Microsoft need to do, before once Scorpio gets announced?
No, I mean, I think that Scorpio doesn't make any sense. Scorpio is a code name. If you probably asked the vast majority of people what Durango was or what Natal was, it would have probably been a similar kind of study.
Sure.
So I don't think that they need to sweat this at all yet. But what this does tell us is that they do have to make sure at E3 and then following E3 that they have a big marketing push to really explain that something new is coming down the line. That my biggest concern is that people don't realize that this is, I mean, this is a console step. This is a
Right.
generational type step. I mean, this is the first native 4K system. Now, whether it's, we can argue whether is important as the step from like Xbox 360, going into the HD era. It probably is not that
Right.
important.
It's like a 3DS to a
But
new 3DS.
see, I would argue it's much more than that.
Okay.
I mean, the new 3DS, while the processing power was faster and it could handle what, 2 games, or is all that Nintendo even released on it? I mean, we're talking about a system that can now natively play a resolution 4 times the resolution. I mean, the new 3DS wasn't really any better resolution. It was just a little bit of a faster processor. So we're talking about processing power here is crazy. There's never been a console on the market that's done this, and so actually, you saying that is the problem.
Sure.
If people hear this and they think, oh, well, this is just a new Xbox One and this is going to be a little bit faster, that almost to me is detrimental to what Microsoft is trying to sell.
Sure.
Because Microsoft really needs to make it clear that this is a step. The PlayStation Pro is a new 3DS.
Sure.
But the Scorpio should be marketed as and should be considered an actual step forward. And so we'll see if they can get that. But again, Scorpio is not a real thing. So the fact that not a lot of people are aware of that isn't too surprising right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how the Pro sold, because Sony hasn't really said anything.
Yeah, I feel like that. And again, I mean, anybody that listens to the show is going to call me biased because I absolutely hate PlayStation. I do try to be fair at times. So while I say things in jest a lot of times, when we do have this conversation, I do try to look at it objectional. But the way that I see like this is that if you have a product that sells really great, you're going to be blowing the trumpet, right? You're going to be like, oh, the Pro is moving off the shelves. Things are going great. They did this for PlayStation VR, and they came out and we're talking about how well it was selling. We haven't really heard that for Pro. So that leads me to think, my own personal opinion would be that it's not selling great, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have to, again, if this is the comparison to the new 3DS compared to the 3DS, it'd be like Nintendo being, saying, well, the new 3DS is not, it's not outselling the original 3DS, but I mean, it's doing okay.
Sure.
What I do think will happen, and I think it will happen kind of at this year's E3, we'll start to see more of a shift toward the Pro, and that they'll start really pushing that as their core system, and and eventually it'll just like the Pro will be the machine, and there's like, but if you want the cheap version, you have a cheaper version to come in. Whereas now it feels like the PlayStation 4 is the machine, but if you want a premium experience, you can pay the extra. I think they want to change that narrative to where the Pro is the lead SKU, but if you're on a budget, there is something you can pick up.
Sure.
So.
Cool. Well, with that, I mean, that's pretty much it right now for all Xbox news in the gaming world. So we're going to hop into our topic of the week. So with that, I say, hit it, Chris.
And then they said, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be.
What a fine
For my life, my love, and my lady is the Xbox.
Wonderful. That was absolutely beautiful.
You like that, right? I've been nothing but Guardians on my playlist, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and dude, they play Brandy so good in the movie. It's so perfect. So,
like I mentioned to you before the show, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, I should be seeing it tomorrow.
Yes.
I still haven't seen it yet.
So good. Oh, man. Young Kurt Russell, that guy's a stud, man, I swear. That guy. Whew.
Well, let's kick things off with our big E3 coverage that Brant couldn't be at.
What a loser.
So, pretty much right out the gate, it goes without saying we know there's going to be a lot of Scorpio, right? That's going to be the big thing they're pushing. I guess it's also worth mentioning. This year, Xbox has changed their time. They used to go Monday mornings. They're now going to go Sunday afternoon, I guess you would say. So if you want to watch it live, make sure you check out the times. I should have written it down, but I didn't write down the time change.
Well, that's fine. Keep talking. I can look it up.
But for myself, my first prediction, I'm just going to put this one out there. I think not only are they going to announce Scorpio, I think they're going to lay very heavy on VR. I think they're going to have an entire section of their conference just about VR. Here's our headset. And we kind of thought in the past maybe they're going to have multiple headsets that'll play, maybe Oculus and a couple other. Who knows? I mean, we don't really know what's going to happen. Knowing Microsoft, I think they might go that route, saying, just like with their consoles we talked about earlier, there's a cheap version, there's a premium version. Headsets, you can get this cheaper one or you can get the nicer one. I think they're going to have, they're going to go over all that. Here's the games we're going to have. Star Wars, Batman, all those PlayStation exclusive VR games. Oh, look, they're also going to be on Scorpio. I think they're going to lay very heavy on VR, I think, at this show.
Do you, real quick, the show is at 11 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Is that the way math works? It goes,
Opposite.
Oh, no, wait, you guys, that's right. You guys
Opposite.
are forward. So then if it's 2 p.m. Pacific, then it's
5.
3 hours ahead. So it's 5.
Yep.
Okay. So 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Do you think that they're going to announce an actual proprietary VR headset?
Well, that's kind of like what I was saying. I think they're going to open it up and allow different brands of headsets on there.
So you're basically saying it's plug and play like a PC,
right.
Which is if you have Oculus, it's playable. If you have Vive, it's playable. You can buy either. But do you think they come out and just be like, but if you haven't bought anything, here is the Xbox VR?
Yeah, I can see them doing that. Because one thing I actually didn't think about putting in the news, I probably should have. I forget what the conference was called. There was a big Windows conference that just happened recently, and they were talking about Xbox. They were saying that soon developers will have all Windows 10 features available on Xbox One, which includes mouse and keyboard support, right? Yeah. So really, the Xbox Scorpio is going to be a Windows 10 PC that just runs an Xbox operating system kind of, overlay of what you want to call it. So I think if the Windows 10 can run all these VR headsets, at least in my mind, I'm thinking the Xbox One Scorpio will probably be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's good. This is completely off topic, but you made me think of it. One of the things you missed in the news is Apple announced this week that they're going to be releasing a proprietary iTunes app for Windows 10 Universal, which means that there is the potential. They didn't announce it, but it makes sense that will eventually come to the Xbox One, which is fantastic for Apple people. I have I have an Apple Music Pass, and I buy all my movies on iTunes. So to be able to load up iTunes on my Xbox and play my music or my movies is brilliant, and it's something that needed to happen for a long time. So that's really, really cool. And then I'll preface that by saying I think they're getting some of this stuff out of the way because this is not what they're going to talk about at E3. Sure. But I do think that Microsoft has some big plans coming up with the launching the new Windows system in the summer, the new Windows update, and just the universal platform and stuff. I will just say that I do agree with you. I think VR is going to be huge. We talked about this whenever Microsoft moved their because it was Bethesda normally first, because Bethesda goes Sunday night, and so now right before Bethesda is going to go Microsoft. And one of the things that I threw out and we kind of talked about. Yeah. Wait, is that one of your predictions?
Well, no, I was going to say you mentioned Bethesda, and I don't know if you guys, I said you guys, but you and Brent, if he was here, I'm just used to saying you guys. Bethesda announced Fallout 4 VR. Remember? Yeah. I think that might be a big push on the Xbox One Scorpio.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say.
I love Fallout. If I could put a VR headset, it'd be so good.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. One of the things that we talked about when this was first announced, the time a couple months ago, was that it makes sense that they don't want Bethesda to ruin that reveal. But if they could come out with an exclusive deal where Fallout maybe is not exclusive, total, but maybe
timed exclusive,
timed exclusive,
like Batman and yep. Yep.
something like that. So if they could come out and show that on their stage, and then you go to Bethesda's show and the Bethesda take you through what the actual game, gameplay and stuff is, that could be super, super cool. That could be a huge reveal.
Yep.
So I agree. I think the VR will show up at some point. And so I kind of agree. I think that they will. I think it'll be a plug and play. I think this machine is going to be a computer, so I think it's going to be basically you can plug into it. You can utilize.
Okay. First prediction
for me.
Yep.
So I'm trying to think of the order that we want to do these. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that we need to take into consideration for E3. Most of the biggest surprises are things that you just don't know. Like there's just no way that we can predict it. Sure. So I mean, this is not one of my 3 predictions, but I'm
counting it off your sheet, man. You'll get 2.
No. I'm just saying. I do predict that Microsoft has a lot up their sleeve that they've been very quiet about, and people have. I would say for the last 6 months or so, since when they started canceling things like Scalebound and started pushing games back, people are just like, where are the games? Where are the games? And look, we know Phil Spencer is focused on games. He always says that he has. That's his number one priority. And so I think that they just kind of kept everything under wraps because I think they're going to come out swinging at E3 with just games. Sure. And so
now, where's your prediction in there?
No. So that's what I said. That's not my prediction. That's what I was just trying to say. It's hard to make predictions when I think the vast majority of what's going to happen is just really just kind of unknown. Sure. But within the unknown, so I'll start with the unknown. I think that my prediction is that they will have a game out this fall that is not been announced, that is going to take advantage of Scorpio, and it is going to be a huge first-party exclusive game. Now, I would actually put money on it being so. Again, my prediction will be it's an original IP.
Okay.
I would not be surprised if they pull something out, like maybe a new Banjo game or maybe a Battletoads game. Yeah. But
Battletoads, they've been talking about that forever.
I know. But for the sake of making a prediction, my prediction is there's a brand new IP that we've never heard of that they are going to show, and it's going to be well, that's neither here nor there. I think it will be great, but I think they'll show it and they will announce it for launch at Scorpio.
Okay, awesome.
So unknown game, first party.
Okay, now while Brant isn't here, he did send over some predictions. So I'm going to read his first one here real quick. He believes, and I think this is kind of a given, Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves are going to launch with Scorpio. And he's got another prediction here about when it'll launch, which. Okay, I guess I'll hop into his second prediction here.
Well, no, not yet. Are you gonna do that? Let's save the Scorpio predictions. I mean, do you have a Scorpio prediction for date and price?
I do not. Just because I thought we'd all talk about it, but I mean.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Then go ahead.
But so he believes that Crackdown 3 and Sea of Thieves will be a launch at Scorpio.
Yeah, makes sense.
His second prediction here, which obviously he didn't read the news, that this game will not be there. He said that Halo 6 is going to end the show. He said it will be... Now, here, this is something else he did predict, though, which you can't really know this year. He said it will be out by fall of next year.
So, my problem with that is... I don't think they show Halo.
Right. And Microsoft's already come out and said it's not going to be there.
Yeah, but I mean, they've said that before, and stuff have shown up. And I think Josh is saying, we got that little, chief in the desert poncho video that meant absolutely nothing. So I think he's talking about something like that, just like a real brief, cameo by Master Chief. Sure. And I think that Microsoft still could possibly do that. But here's my problem. I think they're kind of on damage control with Halo right now. Mm-hmm. And we talked, we didn't really talk about this much in the news for the show this week, but Mass Effect was put on ice, right, because of how poorly, not even necessarily how poorly it sold, but just how poorly Mass Effect Andromeda was received. And to be honest, Halo 5 it kind of had that same stigmata around it. So I feel like that they just need to kind of separate themselves from that title right now, really work on something that is amazing, and then come out and show everybody why, that the Halo 5 was kind of a misstep and it was an exception,
Sure.
Not the actual rule.
Right.
And so go ahead.
I was going to say, and with that, speaking of Halo 5, I was watching a video today. It was like countdown of most deceiving video game trailers of all time, you know.
I know.
And it had like Colonial Marines on there and some other stuff. But they're talking about Halo 5. And it reminded me the campaign, or not the campaign, well, the ad campaign was like these big epic battles between Chief and Locke, which were great. And it made your mind think, what's going to happen? None of it's in the game.
They kept having like Locke, and they had the same scene from both perspectives, where Locke thought he was doing good, and it looked like he was about to shoot Chief like point blank, and then they had the same reverse campaign with Master Chief doing the same thing. Oh man, it was so good.
It made it seem like you'd play two completely separate campaigns, and the story would change accordingly. And then they also had that podcast. Did you listen? What was it called? Halo.
Something for the truth. Hunt for the truth.
Hunt for the truth.
Oh man, it was
and
good.
And it laid so much backstory for Locke and for Chief, and this huge battle that was going to happen. And I listened to that and loved it. And the game came out, and like none of it mattered.
I almost wish that instead of the game, they just gave us another season of that podcast, because that was that little pre-podcast was better than anything that the game did.
So good.
Which is sad, because if those, I mean, they're writers, right? Just have those people write the freaking game. Like, how hard is that? It's like, hey, this thing's amazing. Have them write the game. Anyway, if we're just throwing out predictions for Halo, I think Halo is a no-show this year. Right. I think Halo gets its reveal next year, and then it's released in 2019.
Okay.
Would be where I go, but we'll see.
Okay. What is your second prediction?
Okay. So I think that again, I hate being vague, but unfortunately we're not industry insiders, and even if we were, we wouldn't be able to share the information we knew.
Right.
So we're just like you guys listening. We're just kind of throwing, our best guess at this thing. So I think that Microsoft is going to announce an exclusive third-party game.
Okay.
That is going to be surprising, and probably controversial, and hopefully very big. So what I mean by this is, think last year whenever Spider-Man showed up in the PlayStation 4 conference.
Yeah.
And it's made by an amazing developer, made by Insomniac, exclusive to Sony PlayStation. And that makes sense, because, Spider-Man is the movie, license is owned by Sony, so that makes some sense. But, I'm talking about, maybe it's the next Assassin's Creed, or, maybe,
well, it's kind of like, right, I was going to say, it's kind of like what, 2 years ago? Rise of the Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, something along that line.
I still think that, because Sony has Uncharted, right?
Yeah.
Xbox, they don't have anything like that in the system. I still think they should have gotten that, made it fully exclusive. People would have been mad. I understand. But Microsoft needs to start doing things. Like, I can't remember if I mentioned this on the show before, but I always think like Microsoft should have purchased the Darksider license. Right?
Yeah.
Because Nintendo's got Bayonetta now, right? And Sony's got God of War. Xbox has nothing in that genre, that fast action, combat genre. They should have purchased Darksiders. They made the other, because, just make the War Master remaster, just put them on Xbox, and then 3 and 4, and you're set. I mean, we mentioned earlier, Microsoft needs games. Why aren't they buying these exclusive games? I mean, sure, some people will be mad, but I mean, Microsoft needs it. They need to get people on.
But they're a business. They can't think about people. I mean, look, I'll answer that question and what I actually think is the problem. What I think is the problem is that the Xbox 360 took a commanding lead last year, and so they didn't have to nurture third parties, because what happened, or even nurture exclusive content, because what happened is, because they were the leader in that race, 9 out of 10 people would buy their third party games on the Microsoft platform. So they didn't have to focus so much on building these IPs.
Right.
Whereas this generation, Sony has that market. So now all of your friends are playing on PlayStation 4. So when Madden comes out, where are you going to buy it? PlayStation 4. When Call of Duty comes out, where are you going to buy it? PlayStation 4. So then you look at the Xbox, you're like, well, what am I going to play on this? Forza, Gears of War, Halo, and that's it.
Right.
And so I agree. Microsoft, I actually think Microsoft should have went out and bought Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah,
but the problem is Microsoft doesn't really, Microsoft is a software company in the way that they build UI. They are not a software company in the way that they make games. They make very, very few games. So, and that's really the big difference between Sony and Nintendo. Sony and Nintendo are both software, focused companies as far as, actual games. And so that's a big misstep for Microsoft. And I do think that's how Microsoft really needs to step up to the plate. And so that's kind of why that's my prediction is I think that they understand that. And while I would love to see them go buy Crystal Dynamics, go buy THQ Nordic, and have these come under the umbrella and have these games exclusive, I don't think that's going to be the case. But I do think we're going to get another announcement, kind of like the the Tomb Raider announcement that that is going to kind of make some people mad. But be a very high level exclusive that's going to come over to the Xbox. It may only be for a year or 6 months, but it will be a game that should have been everywhere. That Microsoft is kind of saying this is going to be our game,
right? Because they have to draw the line in the sand somewhere. Right?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, if they can make it Red Dead 2,
that ain't happening. But
it's not happening. But dude, look, money is the only thing that matters. If they go to Take-Two and they go to Rockstar and be like they unlike Sony and Nintendo, they have the pocketbook that they can open up, and they can pay that money. And I'm not saying they would, and I'm not saying would ever happen, but could you imagine not only the excitement from Xbox fans, but the outrage from everyone else that you have to play can play Red Dead first on Xbox for like 3 months. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
That would be hilarious. And you're right, because I mean, not only is Microsoft competing, they've got the money to compete with Sony and Nintendo, they got the money to compete with Apple, right?
Sure.
I mean, they've got the Surface versus the iPad, and they've got you're right, they've got the pocketbook to do it.
Yeah. So they're going to bring something over. I don't think it's going to be Red Dead, even though I think that'd be an amazing announcement. I would love to talk about that on the after show. But I don't think it'll be Red. But I do think it'll be something kind of high caliber of that level that they're going to announce exclusive. So
awesome. Okay, for my second prediction here. Actually, I've got way more than just the 3, so maybe we'll cover some more of this here in a little bit. But my second prediction, we were talking about games. Microsoft needs games. Yes. I think, hopefully this comes true, Microsoft will officially announce Sunset Overdrive 2. Because that's an exclusive IP they have. So and the first game was so good. People love that game. Give us a sequel. Because the game ends on a cliffhanger. Give us a sequel.
It does. So here's a question for that. All right. Who makes it?
Insomniac.
Yeah, but Insomniac is working on Spider-Man.
Right, but they've got multiple teams.
Yeah, but I mean, money and everything is being thrown at Spider-Man.
Sure.
You're probably gonna get the B team. So I asked that question to say this. Does it have to be made by Insomniac? Like, could Xbox have? Because and I'm just asking because I don't know how that contract worked.
Sure. Now, the reason they made it for Microsoft is that Microsoft allowed them to own the IP.
Oh, okay.
So it's only going to come from Insomniac.
Okay, gotcha. Dude, that would be awesome. I mean, look, Sunset Overdrive was one of the most, I don't know that I'd say original, but just unique games, even now on the Xbox One platform. And it was just so great. Right. And I'd play I mean, it was basically like an open world Jet Set Radio.
And Ratchet
that was
Clank,
the vibe. And Ratchet and Clank, with all the crazy weapons and then the grinding. That was a good game.
Yeah, and honestly, even if you just now, let's say you get an Xbox One this year, or you get a Scorpio, just so you finally hop on the Xbox train, even though it came out a year after the system launched. I mean, it was pretty early in the life cycle. Go buy Sunset Overdrive. It's worth
Yeah.
every penny. It is
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
so good. And you can probably get it for like $10 now.
Yeah.
Like that game is just great. So good.
I guess for my third prediction here, going back to games, and actually at the end, once we read all these predictions, I feel like because we're all gonna have this prediction, let's guess Xbox price, Scorpio price
Okay.
in launch.
All right.
After we
All
do
right.
this, we'll do our three normal predictions, and then we'll talk about launch.
All right.
Another prediction I have right now, Xbox is big on remasters, right? Because we got Voodoo Vince, we got Phantom Dust coming. I think this year they're going to announce another classic Xbox game getting remastered. It's probably going to be Blinks the Time Sweeper because that's one that people just keep talking about all the time.
Right.
Because if you look at Xbox, they want to go after what the fans want, right?
Yeah.
Now, I will say Voodoo Vince is a great game. It's a lot of fun, but that was on Phil Spencer. That's like his baby. He's loved that game since it originally released because it's like one of his first major titles or something. I forget what it was, but he's got a what do you want to call it? He's got a strong ties to the Voodoo Vince, so that's why it got remastered first. But I can see them bringing back more classic Xbox original games.
Yeah. Dude, I would actually not only be okay, but I would be in full support of like a classics line
Oh, sure.
where they release games, like Blinks and like even like Cameo and now they own Rare, so you can throw some of the Rare stuff in there, but just even like every 6 months or something, just drop one of these old school kind of platform type games that they've had. Dude, get Fusion Frenzy.
Oh, yeah.
Just like like any kind of odd like little game that they had early on in their generation could be kind of cool. So yeah, I do think that they will continue this. I think Voodoo Vince speaks for that, and
the great thing about these remasters, they're cheap. It was like what, $20, I think, for the
I think
remasters.
Voodoo Vince was 20. Yeah, and if you look at like even like Rare Replay was only 40.
Was it 40?
I think it was $39.99. I think
I still have it, but I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah, Rare Replay is really, really, really great.
And that, that wasn't it the same year they announced Rare Replay? Isn't it the same year as they announced backwards compatibility? If I remember right. Because the games on Rare Replay on Xbox 360
are backwards compatible games. That's right.
Where the first ones are backwards compatible.
Yeah, because little known fact, you don't actually, those games are not on the disc or the download. If you buy the game or the download, you install everything prior to Xbox 360, and then you just download the backwards compatible versions of all the 360 games.
Right.
Which is interesting because you actually pick, say you go and pick Banjo-Tooie from the list, it actually it shoots you over to the Xbox original game, the Xbox 360 game, and loads that, which is an interesting way to do that.
Right. Okay. Third prediction. What do you got?
Well, my third prediction that I was going to talk about was price, but since we're moving that to the end, I can throw another one out. I think that Xbox Game Pass is going to be huge. And I think that Phil Spencer wants it to be huge.
Yes.
And I think it is the next evolution of what video games needs and is going to do.
Now, Phil Spencer has come out and actually called it the Netflix of gaming. That's what he wants it to be.
Yeah, which is so the context of that conversation, he talked about even dropping original content just on that platform.
Right.
So with that being said, I think that we get an official because right now I'm actually in it because I'm part of the preview program.
Yep.
So
I'm actually in the preview program now too. So,
okay, cool. Did you get Game Pass?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's not actually out. So I think we'll get an official release date, which I assume will be when Scorpio launches. So we'll talk about that in a second. But it'll just be like the fall refresh that they normally do on the hardware. But so we'll get an announcement for it. But along with the announcement, and it's kind of where my prediction is I think we're going to get a huge exclusive game that's only for Game Pass people.
Oh, okay.
Now, okay, let me clarify. I don't think it's going to be huge. I don't think it's going to be like Halo 6 is only available for Game Pass.
It's going to be like Sneak King 2, brought to you by Burger King.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I would sign up for that game alone. No, but it may be something like Twisted Pixel's next game that we
Oh,
haven't heard
sure.
anything about, or maybe like an arcade type game. It's not when I say huge, I don't mean sorry, that's the wrong word to use. But I do think there will be an exclusive game of note that you will only be able to play as a member of the Xbox Game Pass community. So
Sure.
he will announce the official date. We know the price is already $10 a month, I believe. So I'm sure they'll confirm that price just to make
Hmm.
sure that they haven't changed it at all. And then I think they'll say and exclusively for owners, this game will only be available on the Game Pass, and they'll explain what that game is. Could be something new, could be a remake, but I just think it'll be a game of note that will help encourage people to jump onto the service.
Sure. And I keep forgetting that the Game Pass, because they announced it a while ago. I'm like, this is really awesome. And then I forgot about it. Like, well, because when we end this topic, we're going to talk about, what does Xbox need to do to win E3. And so I'll kind of put all my thoughts about Game Pass into there. But, okay. Brant's final prediction, and we'll go back through us, because his final prediction was the launch of Scorpio. So I figured this will kind of, put it all together.
Let's do it.
Brant predicted Scorpio will launch in November for $4.99 and will come with the enhanced version of Forza Horizon. So, or maybe it was Forza Horizon, maybe it was just Forza in general, because I can't remember it was just Forza.
He's talking about Forza
Right,
6.
Forza 6? I think it's Forza 6.
Yeah, whichever one's next.
Right.
Next
And I mean, those games are always gorgeous. Always gorgeous. But that was his prediction. He said November $4.99. Now, but it does say
it'd be
it comes
Forza
pack,
7.
or,
Forza 6 already out. So
it
Forza
does
7.
come with the pack-in game, though. So I can see him doing that. My guess...
Are you crazy? No, absolutely not. There will not be a... No. What system have you bought that has had a game in it?
It's been a long... The Wii?
Ever.
The Super Nintendo?
Exactly.
The NES?
Yeah.
No,
Nothing that Microsoft has ever made.
Right.
So.
Now, what I can see them possibly doing is doing like Forza Horizon 3, like the enhanced version of that. Because it's older, right? So it's not a new game. And they've already got the build done and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's possible. Because, well, you're shaking your head a lot. What do you got?
So this is in the way of prediction. I think that the console will launch in October.
Okay.
I think it will launch at $399.99 USD. And I think that it will come with the system, an HDMI cable, a power adapter cable, and a wireless standard Xbox One controller, and that is all. I do not think you'll get a packing game at all. They are never going to pack a game in with that system. Now, I mean, if we want to just kind of throw crap to the wall and see if it sticks, I mean, there may be some kind of like 4K demo. Maybe like kind of here's 3 or 4 bite-sized 4K things you can try. Sure. If VR is as big of a push as we think that it is, maybe they launch with like, oh, there's a couple of VR demos as well that you can try. But there is no way that's going to come.
Now,
it's not going to happen.
Do you think? Because this isn't my guess, but do you think they may like launch a? Because I think this is with Pro. They'll launch like an Xbox Scorpio VR bundle that comes also with a headset. And they'll do it for like, I don't know, $9.99 or whatever it may be.
I don't think they will launch only because they don't want to confuse the message. Sure. I think the message is just clear, cut and dry. This is the future of Xbox. I think that we will see that at some point. Maybe if they launch in September or October, maybe in December we see that, so it's been on the market a couple months, and
sure.
Now maybe they just bundle it all together. You can buy it separate, but you can bundle it. So I do think that's possibly something in the future. I don't think that they do it just because I think that it muddies the water. I think that right now I think it's. Well, we'll talk about this when we wrap, but I think right now price is the most important thing.
Sure.
And so I think that if they come out and they're like, oh, our new console is, like I said, $400, Or you can buy the all-in-one edition for $1,000. All the headlines are going to read is new Xbox is $1,000, and they don't want that to be muddied at all.
Sure.
And so I do think it'll come, but I don't think it'll be at launch.
Right. Okay. For my prediction, I think it's gonna come a little bit because I originally was thinking October, but now I'm thinking maybe late September. So I think September, and it'll launch for $449.99. It's about $50 more.
We all got three prices. I like that.
Right. Just because the fact that, Pro is $399, right? And this is gonna sound stupid, right? But people have this in their mind where if it costs a little bit more, it must be more powerful, right? Because because consumers do that for some reason. Even if this, part A over here is $10 and part B is $12, but it's made the exact same manufacturer, nobody knows it. They'll think, oh, that's $12. That's the premium version. I'm going to go for that. So I think Microsoft might have that in their favor because it is a premium version. We do know it is better than Pro, but I think not only can you tell people this is better than Pro, I think that extra $50 in people's mind will also make them think, oh, it's $50 more. It must be a better console. Although that didn't really happen with Xbox One and PS4 when it first launched, so maybe I'm.
Yeah, that's for sure. I do like that we all have all three have different months and different prices.
Yep.
I do think 450 is possible, and I do think September is possible. To be honest, I think they would like it to launch with Forza, and Forza normally launches in September. But I picked October just because I do think that they're gonna try to milk as much out they can before they push it out to shelves. So we got 3 different months, 3 different prices.
Now I will say, Brant was talking about how he thinks Crackdown will launch with the system. I think that Crackdown is probably going to be their big holiday game. I can see them launching that more like November, December. I can see the console launching like September-ish, and then people that buy it, the biggest benefit will be the patched older versions. They're not older versions, but like the older games getting patched. They'll patch Gears, they'll patch Forza Horizon, all those games are going to patch them. They'll probably patch Tomb Raider, those kind of games. But I don't think that Crackdown will be out till the end of the year.
Yeah. Just a crazy pie in the sky idea, though.
Sure. That's right where I like my pie.
There is the chance. I would not put it past Microsoft to launch the console in August.
Oh, okay.
And this does a couple of things. The most important thing this does is Destiny 2 drops in September. And you've already lost most of the Destiny office to PlayStation 4. But if you can tell them that now the best version of Destiny can be played in 4K natively on the Xbox Scorpio, that is available right now. That's huge to try and get a huge group of people to move over.
Right.
And those people tend to really focus on specs.
Yeah.
That's the hardcore gamer.
Right. And I think that you need to get them with those group games, like Destiny. They have to move as a group because the bigger amount of people you get to move, the better.
That's right. Yeah. So the other thing that this does, and this is why I like the September pick, but even if they launch in August, the other thing this does is it kind of does what Switch has done, which is right out of the gate, you sell out. That's going to happen. But then when you hit Crackdown in November, you want a person to be able to walk into Target, walk into GameStop, and to be able to Crackdown. And then right on the box it says, plays best on Xbox. We need to talk about the name.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Yep.
But Xbox whatever. And then she's like, or he or she is like, well, we have an Xbox One, but what is this Xbox whatever? It's like, oh yeah, it's right here on the shelf. You should get this as well. And so they want to be able to have stock there when people are buying games for the holidays. So I do think that earlier is better, and that's kind of why I went with October. I think they want to get the initial launch out of the way. But I could see September is realistic, and I could see Microsoft really pulling a huge surprise and surprising everybody and launching it in August.
Yeah, but that'll be amazing. And I think if they launch it earlier. Because I really think because when I think of Sea of Thieves, right, I think of that as like a late summer type game because
Yeah.
that's a game you have to sink a lot of time into. You want to hit it when right. You want to make sure you get like the kids before they're in school because you got to play this as a group, right? Summertime is the best time to play this, so they get the game out in
Yeah.
like early August.
Yeah.
And
You know what?
the Scorpio launches in early August. I mean, that,
I want to change. I want to change my prediction.
oh no, hey, you can't do that. It's already
No,
set
no,
in
I
stone.
can't.
It's got the
No, it's
stamp
not.
on it.
This show has not been cut and sealed yet.
I'll
My
cut this part
prediction is
out of the
now.
show. It'll be fine.
My production is now $300. No, sorry, $399.99 USD in August.
Hear that? $300 in August. Okay.
Not $300, $400 in August, not October. So that's what I'm going with. I win a cheeseburger.
There you go.
From myself, if that's the case. Well, let's talk about name. What do you think it's gonna be called? Oh no, go ahead. What are you gonna do?
Well, I was gonna say, do you want to do any of our quick fire predictions? We have some leftover predictions, and Brandt's not here.
But we're already talking about Scorpio,
Sure,
so let's
okay.
talk about the name first.
It was rumored a while ago, before they did the whole Digital Foundry Xbox Scorpio spec reveal, that it was gonna be called the Xbox One X, because we know that the Xbox One name is the brand is gonna stay on there. Because they want to think of it more of as a family. And, you got the Xbox One. You got the Xbox One S, which is kind of like the Slim. And you got the Xbox One X, which would be like the extreme version of Xbox.
Oh, God.
So I can see them using X. Because some people said maybe it should be called the Xbox One Elite. But we already had one of those, right? So I can see it being called the Xbox One X. I agree with that.
I don't disagree with that, but I definitely disagree with that.
Okay.
So I think that the Xbox One S is named that because there are still Xbox Ones on shelf. I do not think they're making the Xbox One proper anymore. So I think that when you say Xbox One, what you are talking about and what you are thinking about is an Xbox One S.
Sure.
I think adding another lettered version to that, while it makes sense and it actually kind of sounds cool, I just think that's too convoluted. So if you have an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, and an Xbox One X, you might as well just change your name of your company to Audi because nobody knows what you're actually making anymore. So I like the belief that it will go to just Xbox. And just drop everything and just come back to the original name, which is cool. I don't think that they will do that, but it would be kind of cool. So, and I'm saying all this, I don't really have an answer for you.
So you think they're just going to drop it and just call it Xbox One or just Xbox? One of those?
No, it would just be Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So you would have the Xbox One, and then you would have the Xbox. Is what I think that they would do. The other option would be a name that we don't know.
Sure.
Which would be Xbox One Elite, but I don't think it'll be Elite. So
right, because the Xbox One Elite came out. If you remember when the Elite controller launched, they had like an Xbox One Elite console, which came with the Elite controller, and it was like what 2 terabyte hard drive.
Sure, whatever, yeah, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now,
and I don't think it's going to come with an Elite controller, so I don't think that they would even. So I don't think that they would risk calling it Elite for that reason. But I mean, they're definitely not going to call it the Xbox One Pro because that's way too blatant a copy of Sony. They just wouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. But I could see it called something like Xbox One Advance or Xbox One Next or
sure.
Xbox One whatever.
The next box one.
No. So I guess in the way of predictions, I think it's either going to be Xbox or it will be Xbox One blank. I don't think it'll be a letter. I think it'll have another code name if they keep the Xbox One. And I get the Xbox One branding. Xbox One has been out there for a while, the name. So I get wanting to keep that branding, but I just think Xbox is so clean and simple. And it's just like the PS4. When people talk about PlayStation, like that's what they say. Yeah. They say PlayStation. They don't very rarely do you hear them say, oh, well, yeah, on the Sony PlayStation 4. I mean, they'll say PS4, but most of the time it's just like, oh, yeah, no, I play on PlayStation. And that just means the current version of whatever PlayStation does. Right. Like, I just feel like that's what Xbox. Well, I play on Xbox. And so I just think
that used to be how Nintendo was, right? It didn't matter. Whatever video games were, you were playing Nintendo.
Yeah. So that's right. I think it'll just be Xbox, but
okay. And I think I hear Brandt talking to me telepathically
Uh-huh.
because I think he said that his guess is going to be called the Xbox Vita. So,
Actually, it's funny. He just texted me and he said he thinks it's going to be called the Xbox One Station.
oh, there you go.
So oh, what a loser!
Oh
All
man,
right, look, I think we both had a few extra. I mean,
yeah,
are there any other just fun ones that you wanted to throw out just for funsies?
sure. Cuphead official release date
Is canceled.
before the end of the year because it has to launch. It was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. And I think let's see here. That's really the only other big one I had was just
I
Cuphead, just out of humorously because I've been waiting for that game forever and it's still not here.
I think that Cuphead will launch at the last week of June. I think it will fit that I almost said limbo, that inside space, right? They
Sure.
came out, inside didn't have a date. We thought we'd see it and we'd hear more at E3, and they came out at E3 last year, and you're like, oh yeah, it's out in just like 3 weeks,
Right.
and it was super cool. It's a great place to drop a game like that because it gets a lot of attention and a lot of because there's not a whole lot in that time span. So I think Cuphead will launch in the summer, and I would see it fill that either last week of June, first week of July kind of slot. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think we're definitely gonna get Cuphead.
Cool.
Um, I think that I've said this like the last 2 years at least. And so I don't actually believe this, but I'm gonna say it just for fun because one day it's gonna be real. Um, I think we're gonna get. They're never gonna relaunch Xbox Live Arcade. That's just never gonna happen. Just understand that. But I do think Phil has enough. Like he understands how people really love like the idea of the arcade, and I could see them kind of doing an Xbox Live Arcade like sale or kind of like showcase like they used to do. And I think that every year since Phil's taken over, he's really worked hard to cater to what fans. And that's why we got backwards compatibility, right? That's just kind of his thing. Then he worked on clans, and that's not stuff that I really am down with. But tournaments and clan stuff like that stuff is huge within the gaming community, and he listens to those things. I could see him come out and be like, "Hey, this July we're having the Summer of Arcade," and
Cuphead.
yeah, and Cuphead's going to kick it off, and you're going to get Cuphead, and you're going to get what's the other like Shadow Complex 2, and you're going to get I mean and just like these games. Not realistic probably, but I just feel like there's such a love for that brand, for the Xbox Live time, and just the Summer of Arcade. I think it would just go a long way to just kind of humor the fans by throwing them a bone and saying that we have this, and they just highlight like 4 or 5 really cool indie games, and this is the Summer of Arcade. You can buy them. It would be kind of cool. So I would love to see Phil bring that back. So that's just a fun prediction that'll be there.
And I do feel like now.
Oh, Battletoads. Battletoads would be in Summer of Arcade.
That would be great. But I do feel like now maybe I'm just not remembering properly, but I feel like right now they're doing more of these like special flash sales than they ever did before.
Yeah,
like
no, I
the
agree with
Xbox
that.
One backwards compatibility, or I mean, every week I feel like there's these big sales happening. Like they had a Capcom flash sale the other day, and it's like,
Yeah.
do they really need? The whole point of Summer of Arcade was just to promote certain titles, right?
Sure.
So, are they starting to do that now by the way they're promoting them with these flash sales, with these other special things? Do we really need Xbox
Yeah.
Live Arcade?
Again, I mean, it wasn't. If you remember, it wasn't even really a sale.
Well, right. It was just promoting.
It was promoting, right? And if you did, I think most of the years, if you bought like 4 of the games, you'd get the 5th one for free or something like that, or you just get like you'd get returned, that much, whatever it was. But yeah, I don't necessarily see it as like a sale. I see it as more of just Phil kind of taking the time to highlight and just make July. There's not a lot of first party games coming out in July. Xbox doesn't have a lot of first party games at all anyways. So just to come out and be like, these are exclusive indie games that we've been working on. We've curated specifically for our crowd, and this is Summer of Arcade. And every week have a huge, just Cuphead, Shadow Complex 2, Battletoads remaster, or retoaded. Oh, dude, I just made that up. That's great. Retoaded. I love it. But whatever it is, I just think again, do they need it? No. Will they do it? Probably not. But I just think that as a fan, of the Xbox 360, and really what really made me love the Xbox more than any other platform at the time was when they launched arcade. The first game that I bought was Cloning Clyde. And it was this stupid, did you play Cloning Clyde?
No, never did. Nope.
It was just a stupid platforming game where you just could clone yourself, and you're just this like Fred Flintstone, dork idiot guy in a hospital gown rolling around cloning yourself, trying to get to the end of levels. But it was like, I'm like, what in the world am I playing? I think I paid like $9.99 for it or something. I was like, what is this? And then, and then from that we evolved into stuff like Explosion Man.
Yeah,
and then we got to Limbo,
Twisted
and
Pixel stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's like all these Shadow Complex and all these great games, and again, I think it would be, if they did it, it would just strictly be a nostalgia play. It would just be like fans of the Xbox brand, and this is what it gets to, right? People have nostalgia for what they love, right? People
Sure.
love Nintendo because they remember their Super NES, the first time they got it. They remember having to buy the RAM pack on the N64. They remembered, having to stand in line and get a lunchbox, for when they bought their GameCube. And Sony fans have the same thing. Microsoft is the younger of all the consoles on the market, and so this is only their third generation. Xbox 360, and Xbox One. And so they don't have as much of that nostalgia. So when I think about Xbox, like one of the things that comes to mind, you have Xbox Live is obviously, a huge thing. And then for me, it's Xbox Live Arcade. Yeah. And so again, it's just a nostalgia play to their fans. I think it would be kind of cool. Will they do it? Probably not. But every year I will say that I predict it, because I think that Phil cares enough about the fans to try to cater to them. So this is the year, guys. We're getting some of Arcade.
This is the year.
This is the year.
So, okay, guys, I mean, what do you think Xbox is going to predict? Actually, before we cut things off, I just remembered one thing we really need to talk about, which we kind of already hit on before I end the show. One question I had written down.
Oh, my bad.
What does Xbox need to do to win E3? I kind of think we covered a lot of it, and I think it really comes down to they're already gonna have the hype behind them, because they're the only ones launching a new console at this conference. As long as they hit the right price with the Scorpio and have the games, right? They have to show why people should come back to Xbox. They need exclusive games. I think that is what they need. Because I mean, otherwise, their flow right now is really well. I mean, they're doing really good. I mean, they're constantly bringing the games out. Like I said, Phil Spencer's kind of turning things around. They just need to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably not really add anything above that. I think that the console has to launch at $400. If it launches more than $400, it's a failure. They are going to be seen as a failure. Everybody's going to leave E3 saying that they can't even compete with PlayStation, and it's done. Like, if they cannot, I'm not even saying it's not even worth it. If they cannot make that console move out of the door at $399.99, it will be dead on arrival. So price is important, and then the only other thing that matters is games. And they have the one thing that I do like about Microsoft is they normally show you games that are close to being ready or ready. Unfortunately, they've been canceling some of those games. Yeah. But to be honest with you, I kind of would like them to pull the veil back and show me more stuff. Like they just need to show their fans why they need to invest in this ecosystem. So maybe show me the games that are coming out this fall. Maybe show me 2 or 3 games coming out in Q1 next year. Maybe show me hints of what's coming out next fall. And then maybe show me 2 or 3 games that are freaking concepts, but are going to blow my mind because they're great. But just show me that you have exclusive content. This is the one thing I like about Sony when they do their. And if you can say anything about Sony, they know how to do a press conference that caters to their fans.
Yes.
I absolutely hate their press conferences, but I don't own a PlayStation, so it just doesn't resonate with me, and that's fine because they're playing their conference to their fans. So what I would say is that I think I like when Sony comes out and every game they talk about pretty much is an exclusive game.
Right.
It's either exclusive or they have exclusive content, and nothing else is normally talked about. They come out, this is exclusive. Like that's what I want Microsoft to be. Just I don't even want to see a flipping third-party game. We will, and that's fine. Right. But I'm being facetious. But like, I want that show to be like 80%. Everything we're going to show you is only playable on the Xbox platform. They need to show games, and they need to get the console at the right price, which is $400.
Yep. So I mean, it this year, Xbox and Nintendo are the ones that are really going, because with the new hardware, they're going to be trying really, really hard. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sony steps up their game. Guys, make sure to check out next week. So we'll be talking about PlayStation. Right. Week after that, we'll be talking about Nintendo. Week after that, we'll be hitting third parties. So all your E3 predictions are going to be coming right at you. So make sure to check it out. But okay, what do you guys think Xbox needs to do to win E3? And what are your predictions? Let us know. Hit us up on Facebook or on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod. And let us know what you think, because we can always read your predictions on upcoming episodes, saying, here's what our listeners think. We would love to hear what you guys want. As for the podcast, you can always watch it every week on iTunes or on YouTube, but you can also download the audio version on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the Google Play Store. So make sure to check that out. If you've been listening to the show and you haven't rated us, please go and rate us. We'd absolutely love it. It would make our podcast show up a little bit higher on the list, which would be awesome. We would greatly appreciate it. Or you could just share it with a friend. That would be awesome. And also, thank you for sticking around with my voice being absolutely. My voice is just out. But
it didn't really sound any different.
If you want to find me, just go on Twitter or Twitch or Xbox or any of those places. Jamester0722. And Chris, where can people find you?
If you're in your bedroom right now, just walk to your closest window and pull the blinds up, because I'm staring at you.
Perfect.
Or you can go to Twitter and you can follow me at NeoLego, NeoLego, and that's pretty much where you can find me anywhere. But Twitter is where I hang out. So
if you want to find Mr. Josh Brandt,
no, you don't.
Open your other window, and he'll be there, staring at Chris through the window to the other side. But you can find him on PlayStation and on Twitter and all those places, minus the Brandt. So make sure to go on there and shake things up for him a little bit. But we hope you enjoyed this episode talking about Xbox, kicking off our E3 stuff, and hopefully Brandt will continue to be on shows from here on out.
Hopefully he'll at least show up for the PlayStation show, since that's kind of his thing.
It's just Mother's Day weekend plans didn't really line up well. But until next time, guys, we are out.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this content from the Life of Gaming. If you like what you saw, be sure to subscribe down below. You can also catch our weekly podcast every Sunday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and the Google Play Store. You can find us on Twitter at Life of Gaming Pod and on Facebook. Until next time, we are out.